Well, welcome to Cardboard Swords, and we've got another Fab for Less budget brew challenge. £25 to build a Blitz deck. Out of nowhere, it's Uzuri. Let's get in. Well, Uzuri is the second assassin hero to enter the game in the latest set of Outsiders, and she's a hero that's already managed to secure some living legend points this skirmish season. Her ability is a once per turn attack reaction. You can banish a card from your hand face down. Your opponent then gets a priority window with which to respond. You can then flip the banished card face up, and if it's an attack action card with cost 2 or less, you can swap it with a card with stealth that's on the current chain link, and the card with stealth goes to the bottom of your deck. Uzuri also has access to a range of daggers suitable for disrupting a range of heroes' blocking capabilities. Spider's Bite is a 2-cost 1 attack on a one-handed dagger weapon with piercing 1, and when it hits a hero it makes their attack actions defend for 1 less. Or Bitter Class does the same thing, but it makes non-attack actions block for 1 less. And in our Out of Nowhere build we also have Nerve Scalpel, which makes reaction cards block for 1 less. This gives us a little bit of flexibility in being able to choose the right tools for the right job. For example, we know Dorinthia isn't going to be running a lot of attack actions, so we'll take the Nerve Scalpel and the old Bitter Class to make their blocking as difficult as possible. In the head slot, we're running the Mask of Malicious Manifestations. This basically blocks for 1, but it also gives us some extra utility if we need to find an attack action card in a pinch. Blossom of Spring's able to give us an extra resource when we need it. Toxic Tips also blocks for 1, but it also has some additional utility. The Snapdragon Scaler is just a very good card, and definitely the budget alternative to Black Tech Whisperers. And with these, the threat of activation is almost as powerful as the activation itself. And then back in the locker we've got some Ironhide equipment for those heavy hitting heroes with Dominate or on-hit effects, and a full set of Null Rune for the wizards. To utilise Uzuri's attack reaction ability, we're going to have to run plenty of cards with stealth. Now, although these are attack actions that we're going to play onto the chain, these aren't the ones that are going to be on the chain when the link resolves, because we're going to use Uzuri's ability to cheat these out and cheat in another card. So we may as well run the blue versions of these, so we've got the resources to swing the daggers if we need to. If we swing in with one of these and we've got a card in hand, our opponent's always going to be wondering whether they should overblock, because our opponents are constantly going to be living in fear that out of nowhere, Uzuri's ability is going to switch this attack with something bigger. Backstab is really useful into those defensive heroes, as it doesn't allow defense reactions to be played on its chain link. And we run all the flavours of Isolate because it limits what our opponents can defend with before the reaction step. And we're also running 2 copies of the Majestic Infiltrate, and although this on hit isn't going to happen that often, the thought of hitting someone with their own crippling crush is irresistible. And then of course we've got our attacks that we're going to use Uzuri's ability to switch in. Wreak Havoc is the Command and Conquer that Mum will let us have at home, and although it's not Command and Conquer, it does a very good impression on budget. Humble is a serious card, and although it doesn't do anything against some heroes, Dash for instance, against other heroes this on hit can be devastating. And Cut Down to Size really punishes opponents for trying to hold on to a full grip to swing back at you with. Ravenous Rabble can help us go a little bit wider. We skip the when this attacks trigger, and the go again will resolve when the link resolves after we've cheated this in. We're also running Bingo, a Majestic from Everfest that hasn't seen a lot of play, but it has a niggly on hit effect that can either give us some card advantage or maybe let us go a little bit wider. And Destructive Deliberation is a 5-power attack that when it hits gives us a ponder token, enabling us to arsenal a card for the next turn. Sneak Attack allows us to push some damage. It's a 3-powered attack that gets a buff of 4 if we've activated an attack reaction this turn. Obviously activating Uzuri fulfills that requirement. Virulent Touch is going to come in for 4, but it's going to punish our opponents if they've decided they want to block with a card from hand by giving them a Bloodrot Pox token. Death Touch comes in for 6 power, and because we're cheating it in with Uzuri's ability, we don't need to fulfill the requirement to play it from Arsenal. And when it inevitably hits the hero, you can choose to give them any one of the disease tokens. We also managed to squeeze in 1 copy of Uzuri's specialisation, Shakedown, which has a really devastating on-hit effect. As long as you've activated an attack reaction, and Uzuri's ability counts as that, when this hits, you can choose red, yellow or blue. The opponent then reveals their hand and you can banish a card of the chosen colour. And to help us ensure we get these devastating on-hits to hit, we run a couple of copies of Yellow Shred. We run the yellow versions of these because when we don't need them they pitch to our daggers. They give a defending card -3 defense, which pretty much always is enough to get our attacks over the line. We've also got a cheeky 1 copy of Spreading Plague, and this really punishes our opponents for overblocking, giving them a Bloodrot Pox for each card that's defended on the chain link. Let's have a look at the deck stats. We're running 12 blue pitch cards, which helps us be resilient in those wizard and ice matchups. We've got 19 stealth cards, which are targets for Uzuri's ability, and the average defense value is 2.6, meaning we can be defensive if we need to be. Time to see whether we managed to bring this list in on our £25 budget. Now, according to February, this list came in at $30. With the current exchange rate, that works out at £24.16. If you're thinking about getting into Flesh and Blood and you like the look of the Assassin playstyle and you want to go down to a local armoury, this is a great pickup at that price. When we're considering the budget upgrades, the first thing to do is probably get playsets of those cards that we couldn't quite squeeze in within our budget. Shakedown is definitely a standout card in the deck, but at £9 we can only afford one within the constraints of the budget. Another copy of Spreading Plague is only going to cost you an extra £1, so it's worth picking that up if you're going to buy this list. Thanks for watching this Fab for Less budget deck tech. This out of nowhere deck list is a lot of fun to pilot, and with Uzuri posting good results this skirmish season, it's sure to be a popular pickup. As always, the deck list is available in the description, and I'll be posting some casual gameplay footage of the deck soon, so like, subscribe, and we'll see you then.